Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. Sunday morning can only mean one thing, and it's not church. For me, it's talking about what I've watched over the week. First off, I'd like to thank Larry for my new hat. Last week, apparently, in the comments, my other hat was a bit too chavvy, so Larry sent me a hat that I don't think you can level that accusation at this one. We'll see how we get on. Thanks very much, mate. It's been another solid week of watching, 7 titles. The numbers might go down over the next few weeks. The Euros are on. 3 games of football a day. So that might impact on my movie watching. But we'll see how we get on. It's coming home. But there again, we always say that. So let's crack on and see what I watched. I started off the week. Last week I watched Hot Fuzz. And I started off the week with the last of the Cornetto trilogy, The World's End. Now, I've seen this a couple of times before, and I always thought it's the poor relation of the trilogy, but you know what? This time, I really enjoyed it. I thought the chemistry that was between the guys stands up as well as it did in the first 2 films. Really enjoyed the science fiction element in it. Brilliant cast of British actors. Who's who, not a Hugh Grant wasn't in it. Every time, every different pub they went in on a pub crawl, you recognise the landlord from all different stuff. They're really enjoyable. And I'd say now it's right up there with the other 2 films for me. Whether that'll stay the same on a repeat viewing, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, yeah, really enjoyed it. The World's End. Next up was one that I picked up after seeing Popcorn and Horrors, SWAT. Now, I was convinced I'd seen this film before. I even had a scene in my head that I liked from the film where they were climbing up one of those pylons that have floodlights on in football fields and using that as a vantage point to snipe from, but apparently it's not this film. I don't think I'd ever seen it before because it was all new to me. None of it rung a bell, which really surprised me. But having said that, I quite enjoyed it. Colin Farrell's always good. He's always good in everything he does. Samuel L. Jackson is Samuel L. I think he's in just about every film. Since I've been doing Letterboxd, about 3 years now, is by far the actor I've seen the most films. I think he's on 32 now, something like that. 32 films in the last 3 years. Yeah, just good, turn your brain off action film. They're trying to get this master criminal to trial without him. I tell a lie. No, the master criminal, he's in prison, and they're trying to get him to trial. But this criminal, he's offered $100 million reward to anybody who can spring him out of prison. And yeah, it's good action film. Really enjoyed it. Nothing that's going to change the world, but stick it on an afternoon and you'll have fun with it. If anybody sort of recognises that other film on about, like I say, they were using a football pylon for a sniping position, and it was a tactical team like this. If anybody knows what that film is, let me know, because it's been bugging me. Next up, I watched Ridley Scott's directed Someone to Watch Over Me. Now, it didn't really feel like a Ridley Scott film to me. I'm a big Scott fan. It felt like something different, almost like his brother Tony could have directed it. It stars Tom Berenger. He's a cop and he's just been promoted to detective. And his first assignment in his new precinct is to look after Mimi Rogers, who's witnessed a murder. Yeah, you've seen this trope before, time and time again. And the guy who perpetrated the murder has threatened that he's going to get Mimi Rogers before she can finger him for the murder. It was all right. It was nothing special. Tom Berenger, who was a bit of a wet lettuce in it. nothing like the badass he is in Platoon. And I couldn't really get behind his character because he's happily married man. He's got a lovely kid. He's got a lovely wife played by Lorraine Bracco, I think it is, who off the back of this performance went on to play Henry Hill's wife in Goodfellas. She's a good actress, she is. Like, I think I've only seen her in these two films, and I think she was the best in this, and she's really good in Goodfellas as well. I must see more of her stuff because yeah, she's really good. And it follows all the tropes of them films. He falls in love with the woman he's protecting, and all the problems that brings to the marriage, and the reconciliation at the end of it with the wife. You know how it goes, but it's nothing that's going to tax you. It's decent couple of hours entertainment. Yeah, I'd say next sale indicator, it's worth a £5. Let's have a slurp of me coffee. Perky Blenders. Like my new mug. World's Best Dad. I bought it for myself, actually. Nothing like blowing your own trumpet. Next up, I've mentioned on the channel before, on a Tuesday, I attend a cardiac rehabilitation session at Rugby Hospital, at my local hospital, where I do rowing machine, I do treadmill, exercise bike. They've got some sort of skiing machine where you pull it down and give it all this. God, what did I look like then? And I do a bit of weights and stuff like that. But I'll get home from that on Tuesday evening and I'm absolutely shattered. I'm not kidding you. Like, I have to sometimes get help getting undressed from the wife. That's how it knocks me out. But it's a good shattered. I enjoy the feeling of being that shattered through something I've achieved physically on a road to recovery. But on a Tuesday, I normally stick on a film that's I know before, I've seen it, and it's light and fluffy, something like that, that I don't have to concentrate too hard on. So why I ended up sticking this on last Tuesday is beyond me. The early films of How Shao Shen. Now, I think I've pronounced that pretty well. If I haven't, I do apologise. He's a Taiwanese director. Is that part of China, Taiwan, or is it an independent country? I'm probably showing off complete ignorance here and sparking some civil war in Asia, but there you go. I think it's part of China, but correct me if I'm wrong. Now, this is a director I've not seen any of his films. If you look on IMDb, he's got film after film after film after film that's really highly regarded and well received. And I think there's even another one up here in the Masters of Cinema collection that's directed. I think, is it Daughter of the Nile, maybe? So, yeah, like I say, normally I want something I don't really need to concentrate on. So why this fell into the machine? And I watched the first film. There's 3 films on here. Cute Girl. And you know what? Accidentally, it was that film I was looking for. Because this was sort of like a light and fluffy romantic drama that was quite charming, and you didn't have to concentrate on it at all. It was all about this girl, her dad's a rich businessman, and he's trying to get her married to a similar position, but she falls in love with this poor chap who's not got much money. And yeah, just light and fluffy, and I really enjoyed it. Romantic comedy's not normally my thing, but this one I dug. I don't know why. I think there's a lot of scenes in the Chinese stroke Taiwanese countryside, and it was absolutely beautiful to look at. Really well shot. And just from this guy's early work, I can see why he's propelled himself on the career that he had, and I need to get stuck in and maybe fall down a wormhole of watching his stuff. Normally, I think he's mostly like a lot more edgier stuff than this. I think this is not his typical ilk of film. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Really surprised me. And I'm going to have to, maybe one day this week, watch the second film on that collection. Next up, the next night, Fierce Creatures. This is touted as a sequel to A Fish Called Wanda, but it's not really. It's nothing to do with it. The characters have got, although the same, similar cast, they've all got different names, so it's just a standalone film, in my opinion. Great cast. John Cleese, who's very Basil Fawlty in this. Everything seems to go against him, and he gets more and more manic. Kevin Kline, who plays a father and son characters in it. Michael Palin, Jamie Lee Curtis, who's lovely in this, and again a host of British actors that you'll see over and over again, including Ronnie Corbett. Nice to see Ronnie in there. This is all about this zoo's been overtaken by a big American a big American company. Jesus. And they're threatened to downsize the zoo, only have fierce creatures, so that the staff are pretending like that the lemurs will have your hand off and stuff like that. It's good fun. It's well worth a watch. It's not as good as A Fish Called Wanda, but that's a great film, a high bar to set. But I enjoyed that. Yeah, really good couple of hours. It's thirsty work, this, talking rubbish. Next up, a film I've never seen before. And I don't know why I haven't seen this before, because this was a fantastic film. Rio Bravo, Howard Hawks directed. Little tale, gosh, some little tales going on here today. My son's called Nathan. When he was born, we told my parents what we were calling him, and my dad went, Nathan Burdett, in a John Wayne film, and I never knew that, until I watched this. Nathan Burdett's a character in Rio Bravo, and quite often, like over the years, my dad's got to Nathan Burdett. But as I say, yeah, really great, enjoyable Western. John Wayne is the Duke, isn't he? What more can you say? Dean Martin, he was really good in this, playing a alcoholic sheriff who's drying out. He's having trouble with shaky hands, which isn't the best if you've got some gunslinging to do. Ricky Nelson, I'd never seen him in anything else, but yeah, he was good as this young, good-looking guy who comes and helps him out. Walter Brennan, who's really good in all the westerns. He always plays a great little old guy, and he catches every scene he's in this. Ward Bond, this was Ward Bond's last and 22nd film he'd done with John Wayne, and John Wayne, his white cowboy hat was the last appearance of that hat that he wore for the first time in the 1939 film Stagecoach. It's a story you've seen all before. They've got this guy who's been causing trouble around the town, locked up, waiting trial, waiting for the marshal to come and take him away for trial for murder, and his brother's in town trying to spring him. So it's a story we've heard time and time before, but what makes it is the chemistry between Wayne, Martin, Nelson, and Brennan. Just more like, actually, like a buddy cop kind of, no, buddy cowboy even kind of film. And you just really get invested in the characters, and it's highly, highly enjoyable. If, like, you've been an idiot like me, you've not seen this film before, give it a go, because it's absolutely fantastic. The only minor gripe I've got in it, 2 hours 20, it's maybe could do with some time being shaved off that runtime. And there's a bit of a romance between John Wayne and this girl, and I can't remember the actress's name, Angie, is it Angie Dickinson? Which I didn't think was totally necessary. I think that could have been taken out of it. Given it a 2 hour runtime, and then it would have been a perfect film. Yeah, really, really good. Well, glad I've discovered that. And last for the week, and least, yes, least indeed, was this pile of poo, Overdrive. This could almost be a Fast and Furious parody. It was that bad. It's terribly acted. Shoestring budget by the look of it, with some awful CGI. There's one stage where they rolled a car in front of a truck and everything exploded. It looked like one of them cutscenes you see in video games. Absolutely awful. Um, Scott Eastwood looks a lot like his dad. Not the same charisma. This guy here, Freddie Thorpe, I'd never heard of him, but he was pretty bad. Anna Darmus, she's quite good, and you can see why she's gone on to better things than this rubbish. They're basically playing off two sets of one-dimensional European bad guys against each other. It's very forgettable. I'm not going to remember a thing about this. I can only probably remember this much because I only watched it last night. Yeah, don't bother. I think it was a Poundland special, and I might have bought it before they went up to £2 from £1 in Poundland, and I overpaid for it. Yeah, absolutely crap. Right, guys, that's it for a week. Thanks for watching. You all be good. Like if you've liked what I've seen today. Maybe thinking about subscribing if you want to hear more of my ramblings. I'll be back in a week with some pickups. I've got some great stuff already this week, and I'm waiting for something else which I'm really looking forward to receiving. So I'll show you that in the week. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. You all take care, and I'll see you all soon.